Hello, dear sister. I am going to tell you a little bit about my pregnancy experiences that led me to really look within for the inner expert. Um, and it was a journey. We're all on a journey, and so I'm going to give you a little bit of my journey. So, I mentioned in many places throughout my book and my blog that I had two miscarriages before bringing my son in, my first son in. Um, so when I talk about being pregnant with him, it really spans three pregnancies. But the first time I was pregnant, um, it was unplanned, but I was so happy. I was so excited. I remember being so excited that I couldn't wait to just experience all of it. And for me, in my head, as a new mom, a new pregnant mom, I was thinking that it really wouldn't be real until I had my first OB/GYN appointment. Um, I just thought seeing the doctor would make it real. Uh, what an interesting thing to look back on now, because I remember that I couldn't get in for like a month after I found out I was pregnant. I'm like, oh, a month? I have to wait a month to go see the doctor? And it turns out that the month before I went to see the doctor was the most beautiful month of that pregnancy. I left that doctor's office crying, crying, and there wasn't even anything wrong yet. Um, but before I went to the doctor, I was elated. I had these beautiful bubbling up feelings and dreams and hopes. And when I went to that doctor, I felt like I was sick, like there was something wrong with me, like I had to be fearful. I couldn't believe it. It was exactly the opposite of what I was expecting. I mean, I was naive and innocent, and I love myself for that. I was expecting to celebrate this pregnancy with a doctor, but instead I was entrenched in fear. And that was the last time I ever went back. I never went back to that doctor. I ended up finding a beautiful midwife that I loved, and she helped me through the two miscarriages that I had. And when I was pregnant the third time, she absolutely celebrated with me, and it was wonderful. I love this midwife so much. Even now, I have nothing but beautiful, fond feelings about her. But due to my miscarriage, I often say that miscarriages can really strengthen pre-birth communication. In my case, that's what it did, because I had this yearning so badly for my baby that I was looking for signs everywhere, wanting to hear from him. And because I was looking and expecting, I was getting it. So I had such strong experiences with pre-birth communication, and it came back really strong when I was pregnant with him, the final time, the third time. And he started telling me ways that he wanted to be born. I would meditate with him, and these ideas would come to me, and I know they weren't for me. Because as I say in my book, before I got pregnant, I was all, give me the epidural, I'm nobody's hero. And then all of a sudden, I'm getting led in this direction of unassisted home birth, which I never had on my radar, absolutely never had on my radar. And it's so funny. In hindsight, I was able to see, and not even till just a couple years ago. My first son is 13 now. But I thought he was leading me to this road of unassisted home birth because that's how he needed to be born. And that may have been so. That may have been his preferred thing. But he really knew that I would only feel safest and uninhibited if I was alone. It was just knowledge from the other side. At that time, I was very impressionable by other people's energies. I would put their energy ahead of mine. I remember thinking, when I would have when I was thinking of the birth, and if I was taking too long, and what if the midwives had to go somewhere else, and what if I was keeping them, and what if I was inconveniencing them? I was so worried about how they were going to feel about it. And it was only when I'm like, oh my God, I could do this on my own, that this feeling of freedom and elation came over me. Now, I will say it here, I've said it many times, I don't think that every woman needs to have unassisted home birth. Absolutely not. If that is not a path that lights you up, then by no means should you follow it. If you think it's crazy and irresponsible, by no means should you aspire to it. All I know is this is the path I was supposed to take, and it came to me through pre-birth communication. And once I committed to that road, it was the feelings of bliss that came over me, such spiritual feelings of bliss and elation. I'm not going to say it was easy. That's my cat Zen. I'm not going to say it was easy because I had a lot of convincing to do. My husband, for one, my husband and I are soulmates. We have never fought more than when we did when I was advocating for unassisted childbirth. But he came around. But then I also had to sort of fight, or not fight, but just push against my midwife. In her view, it was people went to unassisted birth only because they'd had bad experiences before. And she so wanted to be there for my good experience and to hold the space. And I absolutely honor that. And I know many, many people want that, but I also knew it wasn't what I wanted. So I would go to my prenatal visits with her, and I would go feeling one way, very sure, very certain, and I would leave feeling another way, questioning and confused. And I remember the last one, I'm like, you know what? I can't come out of here questioning my intuition anymore. I have to just stop seeing her. So it was with a heavy heart that I wrote to her and said, I love you. I love everything you've done for me, but I have to follow my own heart with this. And, you know, this was 13, 14 years ago. Not many people were doing this. I still don't think many people are doing it. It was a maverick thing to do. It was a scary thing to do. But I had to follow my heart. I had to follow my intuition. And after that, it was just this cozy, settled, juicy, delicious, scrumptious time of inwardness, of just listening to my body and my baby and my faith and my intuition. It was such a gorgeous, I will never forget it. I will never forget it was the gorgeous time. Now, I'm telling you this not to make you have unassisted birth or to make you stop seeing a supportive person that you love and is honoring your intuition. I tell you this because we can be in charge. And back then, maybe I could have been a little more assertive and stood up for myself, but whatever, it is what it was. And I had the experience I was supposed to have. So the takeaway from this is, don't let anybody make you feel sick or limited, or that there's something wrong or something that we need to fear. Don't let anyone make you question your own intuition or your desires. Listen first and foremost to your heart, where you feel your baby, where the divinity, the divine mother is talking to you, the spirit, God, whatever you want to call it, and where your baby is talking to you. Your baby, the divine mother, your intuition. These are the things that can now lead us in our pregnancy and in our birth. And I will share my birth experience too, because they were all peak experiences. My first one, though, it just stands out to me because it was my first, but I will share that with you. But as magical and wonderful as that was 13 years ago, I know that the pregnancies that are going to happen now are going to be even more magical. So I had this great experience of pre-birth communication that led to this website and all these videos and meditations. I mean, it set me up. I know that the pregnancies that we're going to be witnessing here are going to be all that and more. And I cannot wait to witness more and more of these magical pregnancies. I know so many of you are already having incredible pre-birth communication. It's something that's now becoming common, which is wonderful. But there's more things on tap for us right now with these new kids coming in, with this new energy as we spiritually evolve. And I know it's going to be so exciting, and I can't wait to see what your part in it is. I love you.